Well, good afternoon. Luckily, I'm up here talking about us being in the Big Ten tournament. I think that was certainly a question last week, and we went up to Minnesota pretty much saying our tournament was starting then. It became a 4-game tournament for us because a win was going to get us in. And with 20 minutes left, we were down 1-0. And like great goal scorers do, Janelle Flaw's got a ball in the box, and I've watched it over and over, and I'm still not sure how she was running that way and finished a goal the opposite direction. But I think once we got that goal, our confidence rose, and Minnesota started to do the what ifs, and we got 2 goals in the next 8 minutes and went on to win 3-1. So for the next 4 or 5 days, we got to relax and wait and see who else was going to get into the tournament and who was going to get left out, because it really came down to the wire. I think Ohio State was the last team out in a crazy tiebreaker with Minnesota that's record of teams above you. Certainly not a place you want to be in. So it was a real fight to get in this tournament, probably better than it's been in any season in the Big Ten. There's a new Big Ten regular season champ for the first time in 15 years. It's not Penn State, it was Nebraska. So there's a lot of things in the Big Ten this year that I think are exciting. There's a lot of parity. There's everyone's talking about the number of Big Ten teams that might get in the NCAA tournament. So I've told everyone I've talked to, this community has a chance to come out and see some of the best female soccer players, not just in college soccer, but in this country. There's 3 world champions that will be playing this weekend from that U20 World Championship team. There are players who have been called up and played with our full national team. A lot of future national team players. There's going to be some of the best college soccer, best women's soccer in the country played here this weekend on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So certainly if you want to see some future stars, this is the weekend to come out and see some of those future stars, and certainly some of them in a Illini uniform. Game times, I can't promise no rain on Wednesday, but if anybody has connections, I will do whatever it takes for you to influence those connections. Certainly the forecast is for quite a bit of rain on Wednesday. We had a conference call this morning and discussed all of our options, and how we might adjust to that. So hopefully just us doing that will mean it won't rain, because we've come up with about 15 contingency plans and probably already spent money on those plans. So hopefully that'll keep the rain away. But we're excited. We go in as the 5th seed, playing a 4-5 game with Indiana. Indiana was one of the first games we played without Vanessa and a couple of other players. So we're excited to kind of get another chance at them and to put our full team out there and play that first game. And that's what we're focused on right now, is that first game. And the same way we focused on the last 2 regular season games with Michigan State and Minnesota, just focus on that game, and a win in those games gets you to the next one. We've sort of been playing with that mentality for several weeks now. So going into this game, I think on Wednesday will be no different. Happy to answer any questions.
Well, in a worst-case rain scenario, what would the contingencies be?
I think there's several. If it's rain and not lightning, so we can continue to play, but the field's not playable, we have the campus rec turf fields that we could potentially move games to, including even potentially playing games simultaneously if things got delayed, so things were going to be so late at night, we could play one on the game field and one on the campus rec turf fields. So certainly we have some options. The last option probably, especially for the players and coaches, would be to play Thursday, Friday, Sunday if we just couldn't get things done on Wednesday. That's certainly not the best for the athletes, the turnaround from Thursday to Friday. We did that decades ago when I first started coaching here, and there was a Big Ten tournament. We played Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and the number of players that got injured in that Sunday game and the fatigue you went into the NCAA tournament with is a little hefty. So that would probably be the last. Coaches on the call this morning, that was certainly our last option.
Yeah, do you playing on a turf field bother you?
It's certainly, again, it's not ideal, but it's probably better than playing in a mud pit where you're slipping and sliding and falling and, you can't really play the game. So, we've played on it at Northwestern. We train on it in the spring in the indoor facility. So it's not the first choice. It's not ideal, but it's certainly better than playing on Friday, or better than or playing Thursday, Friday, or than playing in something that's just unplayable and unsafe for the athletes.
How healthy is DiBernardo right now?
If I could put a percentage on it, 75, 80% maybe. And I'm guessing certainly she had I think one of the best training days that she's had since the injury on Saturday, which is good. I think she's feeling a little better, having gotten some minutes under her belt against Michigan State and Minnesota. So, certainly getting there. I think we knew she wasn't going to come back on the field 100%. Like any athlete, when you put a brace on them, they're like, get this thing off of me. And certainly that. But she's getting used to that as well. And I think that's helpful.
You kind of have been careful with her minutes since she did return. What's the prospect of her playing more this week?
I think we've got to be careful this week just because of the number of games in a short period of time. So, I think we just have to be judicious with it. I think like with any player who's coming back, what you don't want is putting that athlete into a real competitive situation fatigued. And, when you haven't played in 6 weeks, although she's been working hard to keep up her fitness, it's not that game fitness. So I think we'll still manage the minutes, and I think that'll be game to game and how she's feeling and how fit she really is. We probably won't know that till we play her some extended minutes. But, I think the better she feels, the more minutes we're going to be able to get out of her.
Jen, I was told she played maybe a little bit more to the front than is typical for a midfielder. Is that kind of how you handle things too?
Well, again, I think we're phasing her in. So we put her up front in the beginning of the Minnesota game because, again, a little bit less defensive responsibilities, a little more control over the spaces in which you play, and that allowed her to get in a game and get comfortable. So, certainly we have the option to do that. And again, as she feels more comfortable, then she can play. The great thing about a player like Vanessa is she can play whatever role you ask her to play. And she's capable of doing that. So we can put her in a lot of different roles. We've got some real stability now with Megan Pawlski's playing great up front. Janelle's playing great. Our midfield is strong. So she becomes the bonus. And so we can put her where we feel like she's going to be comfortable, where she might be able to take advantage of the shape of the other team. And so we'll use that weapon as we can to get the most out of what she can do and what we can use her for.
About what type of team Indiana is and what challenges they pose for you.
Sure. It's an athletic team. It's a team that is playing with a lot of belief. This is a team, this is their first trip to the Big Ten tournament in a while, and they've had a real successful season. Several seniors on there that are certainly excited about a new opportunity. Great little midfield player in Lisa Nuangsangsi, who certainly sprays the ball around, and then a lot of athletic players that surround her. So they get numbers forward, they get numbers behind the ball. It's just a really, really hard-working team with a special player sort of in the middle who can make them run, and that's a challenge. I think we certainly have to stop their spoke in the wheel, but also have to be really cognizant that they've got a lot of dangerous weapons around that spoke.
How remarkable is Janelle's comeback?
It's really hard to even fathom a player doing what she's done. Certainly a player coming back from 2 ACL surgeries and being a significant impact on a Big Ten team. But to talk about someone who's leading the Big Ten Conference in a year wherein it's probably as strong as it has ever been, and in the top 5 in the nation in terms of goals scored, setting a school record of, it's phenomenal. To go from where she has been in her, career here to that level of success and that level of accomplishment, I don't know that you could compare that to anything that's happened in my coaching career.
What kind of character does it take to persevere through all of those injuries?
I think it takes someone who believes in themselves, who says, I can be what I once was. And, I've told several people there were certainly moments of doubt in that belief throughout the years and the careers. I think it also takes someone who really stood on the sidelines and learned, never disengaged from the process in which she was a part of. And I credit my staff and the training staff and Janelle and our ability to keep her engaged so that she continued to progress even though she wasn't on the field making progress. And I think that's what allows someone like that to step on and immediately make that impact. She was constantly learning and constantly engaged in what was going on the field, even if she wasn't participating in it. And I think that's a huge reason that she's finding the success that she's finding now.
Have you ever had a player quite like her that's gone through so much and as you had found so much success after?
I'm not sure that I've coached a goal scorer like Janelle, period. When you think about, I knew Emily Brown, whose record she broke, and, we had her for a year injured when I first got here. But to have that kind of a pure goal scorer, that in and of itself is, sort of a coach's dream. To have that pure goal scorer be someone who's gone through that kind of injury, I think is even more phenomenal.
When you look at some of the injuries you've had, particularly with Vanessa, and you look at how Janelle has responded in that void kind of, what's the impact she's had? I mean, are you here without her?
Absolutely not. I think I can say that, and, without Janelle being able to do the things that she's done, certainly we have players who could step up to the plate. But to score 20 goals, that's, it would take a lot of different people. And the thing about our team is now they're focused on Janelle, so we get to move the ball and possess the ball, and it's taken some pressure off people having to fill Vanessa's role because now they're focused on Janelle instead of the person who took Vanessa's place. So, we're not here without Janelle Flaws in the way that Penn State's not here without Maya Hayes. There are players like that, and certainly, every member of this team has contributed, but that kind of goal scoring, I think, is something pretty special.
Just remember here a little bit, but at what point in the season did it become apparent to you that opponents were really cognizant of what Janelle represented at this point and were responding to it defensively?
Probably after her first hat trick, I think everybody said, "Who is this kid and where did she come from?" And I've gotten that from several of my coaching colleagues in the Big Ten. And I think I said this at the press conference after Penn State. That was her first question: is who is Janelle Flaws and where did she come from? And I think that's. That really signifies how special they think having a goal scorer like that is. We all want a great goal scorer and a great goalkeeper. They can keep you in games. It's a low-scoring game. Those two positions, those two attributes can make the difference in the season. And for her to be able to do those things, I think, has been tremendous.
Anything else for Rayfield?
Oh, great. Hope to see you guys all on Wednesday.